Ah, this is cool. So most people, especially producing electronic music, might tend to use the 4/4 time signature most of the time. And well, it is for a very good reason, because you can do all sorts of amazing things with it, and also all sorts of amazing things have been done with it in the past. There's another time signature that I find particularly interesting but don't see so often, especially in electronic music, which is the 12/8 time signature. You heard it in the intro already, and in this video I want to show you how you can build your own beats with that type of feeling. Oh, and my name is 𝗧𝗂𝘃𝗲𝗿, by the way. I'm a musician, producer and online educator, and also made the experience by playing lots of concerts that often the audience reacted very positively to any type of beat that was in this 12/8 feel. And even if the audience didn't exactly know what was happening by like music theory terms, you could kind of sense that the rhythmical excitement and this kind of engaging feel of the beat really spoke to the people. So this just as some small anecdote. 12/8 comes from African music and has a very particular style of counting, because instead of just counting down beats such as 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, you feel a clave, which for example could be this. Which immediately sounds just way more engaging than the dry number counting. The interesting thing is that often the clave serves as some kind of foundation for other rhythms to happen on top of it. And it can sound extremely funky because those different rhythms can anticipate different types of feels. And if that sounds a little confusing, let's just head over to the DAW and see how this works. The great thing about working with the DAW is that we can combine the feeling of the clave with also the typical feeling of counting from 1 to 4. And there are two possibilities for setting the time signature, and you could, for example, choose 12/8. It works, of course. You can open a clip and then change to 8-note grid, and then you have 12 slots in total. But what I don't like about this is that it just has those kind of two shades of colors, so it looks like it's organized in sets of 2. And if we go back to 4/4, we can do a little trick, which is actually opening a new clip, and then we change to triplet grid and 8 notes, and now it's organized in sets of 3. And for this type of groove I prefer this layout, but that's kind of up to you. And technically those things, if you're working with the DAW, are the same. So what now makes this time signature so remarkable is that you can anticipate both a triplet type feel and some straight 8 or 16th note feel, because you have 12 positions and you can either subdivide them by sets of 3 notes. So for example, if we have a note every 3 counts, we have 4 notes per bar and it sounds like 4 quarter notes. Right? And now if we, for example, choose the hi-hat, and here we divide it in subdivisions of 4. So we have 1 note, 3 empty slots, a note, 3 empty slots. And also this perfectly matches the whole bar, so it doesn't overlap. It naturally can fill the bar and sound even. But if we put both of those things together, we have some very funky polyrhythm already. And that's the whole foundation of this type of feeling, because now you can just play with adding or taking away notes and just making the whole thing more busy or actually less busy, because you could choose to play them at double speed. You can even anticipate a straight groove, which is kind of interesting. And if you do this, it sounds like some 3/4 bar. But you can also put the bass drum on all those, let's say, straight positions, so it comes 3 times per bar, and then have some feel in the hi-hat that anticipates some 16th notes, and again it sounds totally different. And all of this happens within the same time signature, and you can do all sorts of things by combining those rhythmic feelings in all possible ways and intuitively just draw into the MIDI grid to come up with your own beats. And we're very close already to the Clave that we had in the beginning, because I want to show you how this one sounds like, actually looked like. So the Clave I clapped, and which one is extremely popular is this one. And also here you can see how much it changes depending on where we put the kick drum. So this would be the kind of triplet based feeling, and there's the thing that it sounds good to always lower the velocity of the note that comes in front of the next one if they are directly next to each other also in the end. Just a tiny thing to add a little bit of feeling, although still it sounds super technical. So let's see. It moves a lot because you really want to move your body and kind of get into the music. No matter at which tempo, it also works in a faster tempo, slower tempo. Although it sounds a bit better on faster tempos. And now if I again change the bass drum to the other pattern, again the whole thing sounds really different. All of a sudden it's this kind of straight feel. And you can also play with it by maybe changing between both feelings inside your song. I mean, it draws a lot of attention to it, but sometimes it's nice to only change rhythmic parameters while maybe your harmonies and melodic ideas just stay the same, because you don't need to add much to this type of beat because it draws so much attention to itself already. It's really, really weird if you listen to this for the first time. Because it sounds like the whole feel changes, but in fact the Clave keeps going and just the kind of kick drum pattern changes the whole feel of it. By the way, if you happen to enjoy this video, I'd be super thankful if you could take one quick extra second to click that like button. Thanks. And now let's just create some beat from scratch, just using all those elements that we've crossed so far. So I'm going to start drawing some bass drum pattern, and I try to include the feeling of 16th or straight 8 notes, but also I want to make it a little denser here, anticipating the kind of Clave, so we have this type of pattern. And let's, for the hi-hat, also maybe try this straight 8th note feel. Has something really laid back I enjoy. And now let's try to use the toms to bring in the feeling of the Clave. So for example, it would be tang tang. Actually here there would be another one coming directly after this hit. And then we need one in the end. And actually now the whole Clave would be anticipated. Let's see how this sounds like. Oh, yes. Super nice beat. I find it super enjoyable. And if you want to shock your listeners, you just at some point change to this one. All of a sudden it totally changes. And let's imitate this change in real time. So I have 2 clips. So we start with this one. Sounds like so much is changing, but in fact only one element is changing, but it has such a huge impact on the whole feeling of this beat. And if you're up for some crazier stuff, you can then, this is the version with the anticipated straight 8th note feel in the hi-hat, just use the open hi-hat, for example, for the triplet type feel, and then it gets even more funky. And sometimes here you can try having a clap or a snare on some very odd position. And it still sounds kind of dancey. I like it a lot. How would the snare sound? You can also play with filling the remaining spaces. Kind of fun. By the way, if you happen to enjoy this video, you're warmly invited to check some more videos on my channel, because if you like this one, there's quite a high chance that you'll also find some other ones that are interesting to you. And if that's the case, you could also then consider subscribing to this channel. Thanks. And one more little bonus tip that is really fun. It's kind of goofy at times, but I enjoy those things sometimes. If you duplicate it and pick just another drum kit, just be very free, just do we have vibrance kit. So now we have a second track with just the same beat. And if you have collected some different ideas, what was the first one? It was just the basic one. But it can sound super cool to just have the same beat played with different drum kits at the same time. Just add some depth and layer. This is more subtle, but also super nice. And you can even try a third one. Just browse a little. Maybe let's try the kinky kit. All of a sudden you get some textures. Although this might not be the best example. Ah, this is cool. And with this being said, I think I mentioned everything I wanted to say in this video, and just want to finally say thank you for being with me in this video. If you enjoyed it, I would be super thankful if you could take one more second to click the like button. And you're also very warmly invited to subscribe to my channel, because I regularly post stuff about music production and performance. And if you like this video, there's quite a high chance that you'll also like some of the other videos that I already posted. Apart from that, I just wish you inspiration with whatever it is that you create, and would be super happy to meet you soon again at this channel. Bye!